What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com.
Here are my DFS picks for NFL Week 5 Millionaire Maker.
These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button
And hit that bell icon
so you don't miss our new videos.
Okay guys, this is for the Millionaire Maker slate, which is the Sunday main slate at 1 p.m. Oh, and stick around to the very end of this video. After I show you all my picks in the Draft Dashboard tools, I'll show you these players in DraftKings and in FanDuel, the Millionaire Maker slates. There'll be 2 spots open that you'll have to fill in, but you'll have a great Millionaire Maker core. Okay guys, NFL Week 5, let's take a look at the quarterback position. My Millionaire Maker quarterback, I actually have 2 Millie Maker quarterbacks for you this week. So let's start off with Daniel Jones from the New York Giants playing the Dallas Cowboys, who have the second worst defense overall, and they give up the 3rd most fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks. Daniel Jones, he hasn't been good this season, guys. He's only averaged 12.6 fantasy points per game on the season. He is getting an average of 4.5 rush attempts per game, and he is going to be about 6% owned here, projected at 19 fantasy points here in Week 5. He's only $5,400 DraftKings salary, and he's $1,600 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 54 points scored in this game, and they have the Giants trailing by 10. So a few reasons that I like this pick here. It's because it's the Dallas Cowboys. They have a terrible defense. Everybody has been putting up monster points on the Dallas Cowboys. And Daniel Jones, he gets some rush attempts. He could have a good rushing day, a decent passing day, throw for 3 touchdowns. He could put up a nice stat line here. I do think he's going to get close or over 20 fantasy points in this one. So I'm going to save some salary at the quarterback position, attack that weak Dallas defense, and it's going to be a passing game script here as the New York Giants are going to be trailing the whole game. So I like Daniel Jones here versus the Dallas Cowboys. But the quarterback that I prefer here in Week 5 for my Millionaire Maker lineup is Teddy Bridgewater from the Carolina Panthers playing the Atlanta Falcons, who have the absolute worst defense overall, and they give up the absolute most fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks. Teddy Bridgewater has averaged 19 fantasy points per game on the season. He's getting an average of 3 rush attempts per game. He's going to be about 7% owned, projected at 18.9 fantasy points here in Week 5, and he's only $5,900 DraftKings salary and $1,200 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 53.5 points scored in this game, and they have the Panthers trailing by 2.5. So you have a fantastic matchup here versus the Atlanta Falcons. Teddy Bridgewater put up 27 fantasy points last game. He got 6 rush attempts. He found the end zone on a rushing touchdown. So I think he carries that momentum over here to a great matchup. You can save some salary with this pick. It's going to be a high-scoring game and a passing game script. So I like Teddy Bridgewater here versus the Atlanta Falcons. Okay, let's take a look at the running back position. My Millionaire Maker running back is going to be Ezekiel Elliott from the Dallas Cowboys playing the New York Giants, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall, and they're middle-of-the-pack defending opposing running backs. Ezekiel Elliott has averaged 22.6 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 17.5 rush attempts per game and 7.5 pass targets per game. He's going to be about 25% owned here. He's on the field for 89% of the snaps. He touches the ball 35% of that time, projected at 20 fantasy points here in Week 5. He's $7,800 DraftKings salary and $1,200 more on FanDuel. So we know Vegas thinks this is going to be a high-scoring game.
54 points scored in this game, with the Dallas Cowboys favored by 10. So the reason that I'm going to pay up here for Ezekiel Elliott is because we're saving money at the quarterback position. We're going to save some money with some other picks. But I just think Ezekiel Elliott, he's fresh. He hasn't had to rush the ball much. He's involved in the passing game. And I think this is finally going to be the game that they don't have to pass the ball 50 times. They're going to be handing it off to Ezekiel Elliott. They're going to get up on the Giants. The pressure is going to be off Dak. They're going to give Dak's arm a rest here and hand the ball off to Ezekiel Elliott. I think he gets 20 plus touches in this game, or 20 plus rush attempts. He'll get his pass targets. He could have 25 touches in this one. So I like Ezekiel Elliott here versus the New York Giants.
Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all the tools for NFL, MLB is still going, NBA is right around the corner. This is a great time to get in and try everything for 1 month. The tools are all about saving research time. You can see the last 3 games, the fantasy points per game, the targets they got per game, so you can see how involved they are in the offense, the rushes they got per game. Seeing all this stuff on one screen helps you save time and make better picks. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups.
Okay, let's take a look at the wide receiver position. My Millionaire Maker wide receiver is Robbie Anderson from the Carolina Panthers playing the Atlanta Falcons, who have the worst defense overall, and they give up the 9th most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers. Robbie Anderson has averaged 19.7 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 8.5 pass targets per game. He's going to be 11% owned, and he's on the field for 72% of the snaps. He touches the ball 18% of that time. He's projected at 14.9 fantasy points here in week 5, and he's only $5,900 DraftKings salary and $300 more on FanDuel. So we know Vegas thinks this is going to be a high-scoring game. 53.5 points scored in this game. Carolina Panthers trailing by 2.5. So it's a nice matchup here. I expect the Panthers to be trailing just by a little bit in this one, but they're going to have a passing game script. And Robbie Anderson is getting a ton of volume. He got 11 pass targets last week, put up 18 fantasy points. So I like Robbie Anderson here versus the Atlanta Falcons. Okay, moving on to the tight end position. So you can see we have targeted this game here, the New York Giants versus the Dallas Cowboys, because I like Evan Ingram from the New York Giants playing the Dallas Cowboys, who have the 2nd worst defense overall, and they give up the 5th most fantasy points to opposing tight ends. Evan Ingram has averaged 7.5 fantasy points per game on the season, but he's getting 7.5 pass targets per game. He got 10 pass targets last game. He's going to be about 16% owned, and he's on the field for 90% of the snaps. He's projected at 12.3 fantasy points here in week 5. He's $4,600 DraftKings salary and $900 more on FanDuel. So Vegas thinks there's going to be 54 points scored in this game. Got a high scoring game with the Giants trailing by 10. So it's a fantastic matchup here versus the Dallas Cowboys. And it's going to be a passing game script for the Giants. So Evan Ingram could get 10 plus targets in this one. So I like Evan Ingram here versus the Dallas Cowboys.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video.
You've unlocked the bonus content.
Okay guys, we're in the DraftKings lineup optimizer. over here on Draft Dashboard, we have our Millionaire Maker core locked in here. We've generated a lineup. So let's see who we have here. We got Teddy Bridgewater, Ezekiel Elliott, Kareem Hunt, Robbie Anderson, Damiere Byrd, DJ Chark, Evan Ingram, Stephon Diggs, and the Eagles defense. So this is an interesting lineup here. I like the Kareem Hunt play without Nick Chubb. Kareem Hunt should be a smash play, even though it's a bad matchup versus the Colts. He's going to get a ton of volume. He was putting up monster points even when he was sharing the ball with Nick Chubb. So I'm expecting a big game out of Kareem Hunt. And then the interesting pick here is Damiere Byrd. But Damiere Byrd scored 13 fantasy points last week. He scored 13.2 fantasy points a couple weeks ago. So the Patriots don't have a lot of premier pass catchers. So Damiere Byrd can get plenty of targets. He can find the end zone. He's only going to be about 2% owned in this one, and he's minimum salary here. So if he scores you 10 plus fantasy points, if he can catch a touchdown or even get 4 catches for 60 yards, then you're going to be in a good spot here because you're saving a ton of salary to stack the rest of your lineup with quality players like Ezekiel Elliott and DJ Chark and Robbie Anderson and Kareem Hunt. You just got a quality lineup throughout the rest of your lineup. Evan Ingram, Stephon Diggs, who's been fantastic this year. So I like this lineup. I'm going to save this lineup so I can optimize it later. Okay, now here we are in the FanDuel lineup optimizer over on Draft Dashboard. We've locked in our Millionaire Maker core here. We've generated a lineup. So let's see who we got here. We got Teddy Bridgewater, James Conner, Ezekiel Elliott, Odell Beckham Jr., DJ Chark, Robbie Anderson, Evan Ingram, David Johnson, and the Ravens defense. I like this lineup here. I like the Ravens defense versus the Cincinnati Bengals. I like how we were able to pay up for a nice defense that can score a ton of points here versus the Bengals. We got a nice value play with David Johnson in our flex. And then we got Odell Beckham Jr., who had a huge game last week, and I'm expecting him to have another pretty big game in this one. And James Conner, who scored 20 fantasy points or more in his last 2 games. So I like this lineup. I'm going to save this lineup so I can optimize it later.
Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smiggity smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NFL slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.